Belonging, we think we want belonging, but what we really want is true love within ourselves to then be able to have that sense of community, to show up fully as who we authentically and magnetically are, for us to be able to meet those people and those people to meet us.
Hey, friend, do you know that feeling when you're doing all the things? You're showing up, you're trying, you're being brave, and yet you still have this quiet ache that says, where are my people? Where are my people? Where is the community that actually feels like home? Where are the connections that feel real? Not performative, not transactional, not that weird kind of networking energy. That is exactly what this episode is for. So I am dialoguing with Zoe Kelsey, and you're going to feel her. She is one of these women who's genuinely just who she is. She sees people. She has this gift for connecting dots, bringing women together in a way that feels organic and safe. And we talk about her framework, her presence, priorities, pleasure, how those are real anchors for finding your people, becoming more visible in a way that still feels like you, and creating the kind of community where you do not have to hold everything alone. If you have been craving more connection, more collaboration, more support, and even just a reminder that you're not the only one who feels this way, you are in the right place. So let's get into it. Welcome to The Authentic Creative, where we expand our capacity to feel good one deep breath, one bold choice, and maybe a little bit of magic at a time. I'm Siri Baruch Thornton, healer, creative, and lifelong explorer of all things energy, self-expression, and joy. With over 26 years of experience in Reiki, Akashic Records, and transformational breathwork, I've learned that feeling good is not a luxury, it's a practice. And sometimes it's a little messy. This podcast is here to help you trust your intuition, break the rules, the ones that need breaking, and live more fully in your gifts. So give yourself a deep breath, get cozy, and let's dive in. And I am so excited because I've got the incredible Zoe Kelsey here coming on today. I'm joined by her, the founder of We Shine Well, and a community marketing strategist who helps female entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and wellness brands grow through connection, collaboration, and authentic community. After a 10-year corporate career, Zoe made the brave choice to leave what was familiar and bet on what felt true. Now she builds spaces where women feel supported, seen, and genuinely expanded. And she is known for being a natural dot connector, someone who can sense the right people and the right collaborations before they are even obvious. Zoe is here. Her effervescence is already coming through to me. And I can see why your company is called We Shine Well, because you do shine well and you're effervescent. You have a glow, you have an energy. So I can see why people feel comfortable around you and why you're this dot connector. You're already asking me about myself and what I do and who I am. And I can see the brain is already working and the mysticism is already happening with the cosmos of how you're going to be connecting me to someone who I'm mystically meant to be connected to. Was this something, Zoe, that you've always had the ability to do? Have you always kind of connected people naturally, or is that something that came later on?
Thank you for the compliment, because I feel like the biggest compliment that we can ever give or receive is about our energy, because
Yes.
it's without spoken words and you can just tell when somebody has that. And it's funny that you say that, because my word for the year that came through in breathwork is luminescence. And people are like, what does that mean? It's not a word I ever use, but how can I truly be that light to help ignite other people in just the way that I live and flow through life, to help them do so as well, with less force and more flow.
I love that you're saying that you do breath work, that you've had an experience of breath work. Obviously, that's one of my major things that I am so passionate about, and so many people are passionate about these days. I'm just curious, tell me about your experience of breath work. Is it something you like, or are you one of these people who's very slow to do it, but then you will do it?
I absolutely love breath work. It's so powerful when women come together to
Yes.
energetically, but also have that release. Growing up, I had head trauma, I had anorexia, and I did so much talk therapy, but not until a few years ago did I really discover breath work and how powerful the somatic mind, body, soul component is to truly be able to release. It's helped me shed so much. And I have
Wow.
this friend where we both have the most vivid breathwork journeys where I don't even need psychedelics. People probably think
Totally.
I'm on this journey. The last one, I was like, I met my future daughter and son and husband. There's so
Totally.
much power in the breath that's already within us. So I already admire the work that you do. Breath can be so underrated. The first time I did it was one on one. I would highly recommend that to anyone because I literally felt like I was vibrating at the next level of myself.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear someone share their experience of breathwork in such a beautiful way. I hear these kinds of experiences quite often, but every single time I hear it, and especially someone who's not in my specific community yet, I'm like, oh, good. Because if the whole world could be describing what you just described in the way you just described it, I feel like, and there's so many things you could say that about, so many modalities. Like if the whole world meditated, if the whole world journaled, if the whole world blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And because I resonate with it so deeply and it's been such a profound transformational experience for me, all I want is for other people to have that experience that you just described, which is yes, without,
Mm-hmm.
because I've done mushrooms, but without that, we don't need that. We can have a mushroom experience without the mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That meeting
And
your
it's,
future family. How profound is
I
that?
know.
It's so beautiful. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
sharing that. Thank you. I want to find out more about you. So where did you grow up? Where were you born, first of all?
I was born in Santa Barbara, California,
Okay.
and then I grew up in Carpinteria. It's a really small town with 14,000
Yes, I've
people
heard of
in,
it.
yeah, in Santa Barbara County. My grandparents were high school sweethearts. My parents were
Wow.
high school sweethearts in a
Oh,
really small town. And
so
it's
sweet.
an incredible town. The friends that you grow up with are those kind of friends that you have. And I didn't know anything else. And I grew so much from that, but also felt contained with who I was meant to be
Hmm.
based on who they were, or being this kind of perfect child in a way to make sure everything was going well when there was a lot going on with my
Sure.
family, of my dad losing his job and the recession
Sure.
and multiple losses in the family and feeling out of control. That at that point I looked to food as my dirty little secret and control in anorexia, and was
Hmm.
able to heal with the most incredible therapists and resources that I was able to have. It was just about shifting my mindset as well to be like, how can I use food as fuel? Because from that experience, from head trauma, I had other health issues that came about because I wanted to support other people in that.
Can we back up for 1 second? Because I want to
Yeah.
understand the head trauma. When did that happen and what actually happened? You don't have to dive deep into it, but so we understand the context.
I was 12. It was a boating accident. So
Okay.
I was on an inner tube behind a boat that was whipping around with two other girls,
Oh,
hit my temple against
oh,
another girl, and
yeah.
I ended up being airlifted, was in the ICU. They were like, she might
Wow.
not talk or walk again. I believe in the power of prayer too. We had a family friend that he woke up in the middle of the night and was like, I just needed to pray. And he knew my situation. And my mom was in the room. And I was just like, Mom, that was the same exact moment in time where she was like, it's all going to be okay. It's
Hmm.
all going to work out too.
Wow. Do you still feel an after effect of that experience?
I feel like it's one of those things where growing up, it's like, oh, that's fine. It just happened. And then looking back, I'm like, oh, wow, that
That was
probably
pretty horrible.
affected like a
Yeah.
lot of my
Yeah.
life. But
But
yeah,
you
I mean,
fully recovered. You don't have any little things you have to deal with because of that.
no,
Good.
I mean, I've had health
Bless your
stuff, but
heart.
that's from other stuff. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. And so that was a moment. And then coming up to corporate, you were in corporate, and
Yes.
that was very straight and narrow path that you were walking. And then you had
Mm,
this moment of transitioning into what you do so passionately and beautifully now.
What was the reason that you were on that corporate path?
Good question. I felt very contained in the way that I grew up. After college, I was so grateful to graduate a quarter early and just go on this trip for 45 days with 45 strangers my age in Europe to 18 countries. And
Ooh,
that was a pivotal moment to just
sure.
feel so ignited. I can't be anybody else except myself. And these people accept me for that. So
Mm.
I'm just going to live that way. So then from there, I went on to, in college, I had an internship with LinkedIn, and then I had a job. I went to school at UC Davis, 25,000 people, because I was like, I need anonymity from a small town. And then in corporate, I moved to the Bay Area, not knowing anyone either. And from that place, right after college, of being the most magnetic version of myself at that time, I was able to, I feel like I just attracted the most authentic friends and community
Mm.
that I ever had. And I feel like that was a point where it was like, I was seeking community my whole life so bad. And I was like, belonging, we think we want belonging, but what we really want is true love within ourselves, to then be able to have that sense of community, to show up fully as who we authentically and magnetically are, for us to be able to meet those people and those people to meet us. And
Yeah,
I even had this realization
so
recently
true.
where I was like, I feel like sometimes I'm just giving, but a true community is like a potluck. Like, I am happy to just create the space, bring the people together, make the main. But what is truly magical is not when somebody is doing everything, but when there are other people. It can be bringing themselves, it can be bringing sides, it can be what is the like question of the dinner or whatever. But it's like, how can there be all of these magical pieces and people that come together that truly make up what a community is, whether
Mm.
it's one-on-one or a group setting? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so beautifully put. Such a good visual. It's so important what you said about we think we want belonging, but actually we just want this true love within ourselves. And then as that grows within ourselves, that true love, then we're able to actually be seen for who we are. And you describe so much of that, being seen for who you are and being able to shine exactly as you are. And when you have that experience of being your authentic self and then being accepted because you're being your authentic self, all you want to do is give that away. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting that you worked for LinkedIn because that's obviously a connector, and then here you are connecting people again. So clearly that was
Mm-hmm.
something that was always in your path. How long have you been doing this new venture of connecting the dots for people and with We Shine? How long has that been happening?
We Shine Well as a community membership, and I call it Dot Connecting Concierge, for established female entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and practitioners in the wellness space as more of our central collective. Right now, it's expanding. I just launched a podcast,
Yes, I
and
saw that.
consulting and stuff.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I was at LinkedIn for 10 years, and I always had a side gig in wellness
Okay.
while I was in corporate. So
Okay.
right after college, 6 months after I started my job, I was like, I want to become a certified health coach. So I became one. And then I was like, I want to make a bigger impact. So I worked with Kelly Levesque for 3.5 years, writing and launching her courses and memberships in partnership with her. Became a business coach as she went more into product, as a business coach for female entrepreneurs in wellness, just hearing so many shoulds and coulds and overwhelm. And in
Mm,
parallel, had multiple roles at LinkedIn, from being a chief of staff to leading a subset of influencer marketing to global community strategy. And
amazing.
with my passion for wellness and community, that's how We Shine Well was born. But I would say the point of where it was actually born was I moved back to Santa Barbara during the pandemic, and I connected with now a dear friend. Her name's Alexandra Cole, who's an incredible human design
I've had
coach.
her on this podcast like three or four
Oh,
times.
oh,
Yeah.
I adore her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. That's so funny. Yes, because she lives where you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we got coffee, and it was the first time I had learned more about being a projector and how it made sense.
Oh,
So
you're a
I'm
projector.
I'm an emotional projector 5 2 in human design. Every time I see her, I feel like I just hit the jackpot with permission slips every time I see you, because it was a
Oh.
permission slip to not dive deeper in being the subject matter expert of everything, but being like,
Mm.
okay, I'm meant to be here to guide people and bring them together. And that's what We Shine Well does, connecting people in that way. And funny enough, I just had her on my podcast and I was like, We Shine Well wouldn't exist without you. 6 months ago, we
Wow.
went on a walk and she calls them her joy walks. And she was like, you need to start a podcast because you're meant to amplify your message based on your profile and what you're energized by. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I launched it and it's in the world.
And you
We'll see
already
what
have
happens.
so many incredible guests, and I can tell you're already naturally so curious about people, and I
Mm-hmm.
can tell that you see people. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that you have this natural curiosity about people, you see people, and then you have this ability to have this foundation of the corporate world and the understanding of that. But then also as a projector, you have this efficiency where you can zoom out and see where the dots need to be connected. It's so beautiful that you're now in your full alignment, but you had to go through the thing with hitting your head, unfortunately, because that feels like a catalyst of you caring about health and wellness and having empathy for others and their situation and their body and
Mm-hmm.
how their body works. And then you going through the thing with the healing journey with food and your relationship with food. So much of that created this empathy and understanding of others and how to be well and healthy in our bodies. And so you've merged all of these worlds. It's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. I love it so
Well,
much.
thank you. What is your human design?
So my husband is a projector like you, so I understand the
Mm-hmm.
projector world and I tend to be attracted to projectors. I'm a manifesting generator. Okay,
Okay.
wait a minute.
Look, it's your
This
name tag. Oh my gosh.
man Jen, and then there's a thing on the back. I'm showing her my sweatshirt. So
So
this is
funny.
Heather Diminick. I got this sweatshirt from her. That's so funny that we're talking about human design. I just happened to wear this
So
manifesting
funny.
generator sweatshirt. I haven't even showed this to Alexandra. I have to show it to her.
I think her kids each have shirts for what their energy type is.
Really? So you understand human design then. So when you're connecting people, does that come into play with how you connect people at all? Does that inform any of it intuitively? Are you
It
like, ooh,
helps.
you're a projector, you'd be good with this manifesting generator, or your manifesting generator would be good with this other manifesting generator because they both know how to do five different things at once?
I feel like it's more so getting to know who they are as a person first, and then their energy type helps me determine what is their way of operating or decision making or how they want to be engaged or not engaged to best support them.
Yeah, got it. And so,
Mm-hmm.
what does it look like? Say I was going to join the community, and how would I start? What would that look like? What experiences would I have? How would you connect me? Can you walk me through the concierge of it?
Yes, yeah. So anybody who's interested in joining, there are a lot of introductions, which I'm grateful for through our community as they find the value in it. There's an application to make sure that there's true peer to peer connection of established female entrepreneurs, thought leaders, practitioners in wellness. And then we hop on a call for 30 minutes one on one to better get to know you, your journey, what lights you up, and your challenges. From there, I identify, are there people you're interested in connecting with? And then my mind is a Rolodex. And then I'm like, these are the people that I can connect you with based on your focus. We have monthly calls that we're currently evolving now to be more peer led. I think you know Rachel Bloomberg and Kim Shapira, they're both going to be peer advisors to host these calls. It's truly a peer to peer connection. How can we workshop together and have alignment on what is that one next step you're taking outside of this call to be accountable to each other? We have quarterly in-person meetup. Our community is across the US. So we're doing one in New York for the first time, San
Oh,
Diego,
wow.
Santa Barbara, LA, of course, and then
Mhm.
our annual summit that in the Hollywood Hills. This year the theme is limitless. So how can we come together to identify where are we dimming our own light? Where is that aliveness and how can we shine brighter together? I'm allergic to the word networking. I don't know if it's because of my corporate days, but how can we truly connect and collaborate in authentic depth in community?
Yeah,
Um,
without it
so
feeling put on, like having it feel more organic. Yeah.
Hmm.
And at those experiences, like the one in the Hollywood Hills, do you share about the limitless aspect? Do you bring in speakers as well? How does that all come together?
It's always about how can we drop in to be grounded in that. We have different speakers. So, for example, Samantha Skelly, I don't know if you know who she is.
Of course.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
we're back to breathwork. She's going to be one of our incredible speakers. We have multiple others that are joining, but I can't share those quite yet. It's a very curated agenda. It's around workshopping together to first align with ourselves to be able to show up to have that alignment in our own businesses. Because I don't know about you, but entrepreneurship is one of the biggest life lessons
Mm,
of being confronted with all of your
yes.
stuff, for
Yeah.
better or for worse.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for it. And so many people, once I did actually leave LinkedIn in May, that was one of the hardest decisions for me to get rid of that identity of safety from growing up of parents being paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah.
to be like, okay, I've seen this as safety, but how can I fully open my hands and surrender and trust what is possible and I know to be true and have abundance coming from that place as well.
It's incredible that you have so many amazing people surrounding you and in your community already. I think that it's already such a success. That's
I mean,
beautiful.
it's been 2.5 years now.
So, when you talk about prioritizing presence, because we talked a little bit before this about things that are important to you, and you said prioritizing presence was something that was important to you. How does that happen for you? How do you prioritize presence?
In these conversations like this. Sometimes it's a challenge for me because you could probably tell my mind is always going a million miles a minute. I've come to learn that doing one task at a time, being present in the conversations I'm having versus doing something while I'm listening to you, it goes back to energy. And that energy is powerful. Like, I'm truly fully present right now with you in having this conversation. And you could tell if I wasn't. I've built my entire business and life on relationships. That's where the power of presence comes in, to fully show up as yourself and as myself, and to be able to better understand what is the opportunity, what is this situation. It's the fuel for my dot connecting, is having to have that presence, to have such clarity, to be able to see from the trees of what does come together. And so something that comes into play is also priorities for me. So I'm like,
Mm.
how can I prioritize my priorities and making joy and pleasure one of those priorities, and having presence in every single thing that I am doing, and not guilting or shaming myself for not getting enough done. I often work too much, especially as a projector, but balancing all of those and seeing those three P's as the way that I like to think about living to support living well, is through that presence, priorities, pleasure, and scheduling that pleasure of, like, I am scheduling a 90-minute massage because I know that that is going to support me, mind, body, soul.
I recently set up a desk next to my bed, which you would think would be odd, or like, oh, you should have your bedroom just be your bedroom. But actually, I love it so much because it reminds me of when I used to live in LA. I had a desk in my bedroom, and it was one of the most luxurious things. I still have my office, but on my desk is a new thing that I started to do as one of my rituals, which I learned from Mel Robbins, which she talks about on her podcast, is if you want to sleep well, to actually write down all of your to-dos right before you go to bed at night. And that way it's
Mm-hmm.
dropped out of your head and you're not circling with it at night. So on
Mm-hmm.
one side, on the left side, I've got my to-dos on my desk. And on the right side, I've got what my priorities are. At the top of the priorities, I'm like, what is my priority? So every night I'm asking myself, what is my priority? The stuff on my to-do list almost could look like it has nothing to do with my priorities sometimes, depending on the perspective and the presence that you bring to it. And one of my top
Mm-hmm.
priorities is just like what you said, Zoe. It's like, feel good, be present, expand my capacity to feel good, which is the subtitle of this podcast. So I love that you're talking about presence and having this to-do list because it's so in alignment with what I've been working with lately. So priorities are this
Mhm.
like moving target. What are you saying yes to, Zoe, in this season? What are you saying no to? How are you making a decision about what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to?
I'm in the process of fully figuring out what is a full yes and what is a full no. And I actually had a session with my business coach recently, and I was like, all of this is a yes. And it's where can I delegate to other people or hire a VA, for example,
Sure.
to be able to not hold the full load. Because even recently,
Yeah.
I was in yoga and shavasana at the end. I just had this visual. I was like, God, what do you want me to know? There was this giant boulder on top of me, but it was weightless. And what I got from that was you have capacity to hold a lot, but not to hold the weight of it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, that was powerful for me to be like, okay, how can I not hold the weight of all of this? Part of it is how can I not take things personally and
Sure.
absorb my work as my identity,
Yes.
even though I have so many friends through the work that I do that my work and life is intertwined. How can there be even detachment of where am I, where is work, shutting? That's why I go on so many walks during the day, because I'm like, how can I get clarity around what my priorities are and create space for creativity to be able to dive in. For example, I think of my email inbox as like, that's not necessarily my to dos, that's somebody else's to dos that
Right.
they are giving to me in this season. It's really prioritize the growth of our community, the growth of the podcast, and amplifying the gems of a message. I'm grateful to have such incredible women that I'm working with doing consulting for marketing. And ultimately, what I feel like my true life's passion is how can I support these incredible women to bring their vision and their purpose and impact to life
Yeah.
through having a conversation or connecting them with people that are so aligned. I truly believe we have something to learn from everyone. Sometimes I probably overcommit to calls, but it's always about planting seeds of how can I get to know so many people to be able to then connect them or support them or have them support me. Because even through all of it, my motto is the worst that I can hear is no. I
Yeah.
will reach out to people, follow the nudges. People might say it's bold, courageous action, but I feel like it's just part of what I do is reaching out to people, connecting with them, because at the end of the day, we are all just people.
Yeah, it's a humanistic point of view that I feel like you have. And saying yes, it sounds like is part of what you love to do. It's interesting how you're describing that you're able to say yes and finding ways that you can make the yes work for you and work for other people.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's actually really a passion for you to be able to say yes. The other thing that you touched upon with the three P's is you talked about pleasure. And I think that's such a radical act is to prioritize pleasure because it's at the bottom of our to-do list, usually as entrepreneurs or as mothers or whatever our roles in life that we're playing. Pleasure tends to be the last thing that we're trying to prioritize. And what a radical act to put pleasure first or to put pleasure as one of those top 3 or 5 priorities. Going for walks sounds like one of your ways of finding clarity and getting pleasure. Are there other ways that you're finding inroads to have pleasure be a priority? Obviously, you live on the ocean, so I feel like not everyone takes advantage of that, but you have the
Mm-hmm.
sunshine, you have the sea, you have the salt. That is just such a pleasure to be in the environment that you're in right now. Are there other ways? It sounds like you prioritize yoga and you prioritize things like breath work. What are some of your favorite things that are bringing you pleasure?
Great question. And to your last point as well, I will also say that there is the cost of yes. So I've had to get clear on what is that cost of yes. And our body knows before we know. So
Mm,
I'm in tune with how is my body reacting to a certain situation or opportunity. And I'm an emotional projector. So riding the wave of like, okay, is this sticking and still being true to be true for me?
yeah.
And where that pleasure comes in is I left corporate because I get to go on a walk in the middle of the day and go hang out, go get together with a friend or go to lunch or something like that. And there are seasons where, like right now, there's a lot of fullness in life, and I'm so grateful for that. And that might mean working late hours, but one of my priorities is having more life in my life. So when a friend who, like, for example, today I have a friend who's a nurse, she was like, you want to go get matcha and go for a walk. So I'm doing that after that because I can. And that brings me pleasure. And all my friends know that one activity that I absolutely love to do most is walk because there's something about it. It goes back to even that presence piece is it's getting people completely unplugged from any devices, any distraction, going on a walk just along the ocean. It's called Shoreline in Santa Barbara. It's on a mountain overlooking the ocean. So
Amazing.
as we walk, the processing while we're walking together
Yes.
in having that conversation and doing life together. Yeah. I also think that pleasure can be daunting of all things, but it's also the little things are actually the big things.
Hmm.
And for me, it's starting my day. I'm not like a slow morning person necessarily. I need to get my movement in. That is the way that I process and set my intentions. And even my morning matcha, I look forward to it every day. And it's the simple pleasures of perfecting that at home, or seeing a parent's or friend's dog, going on a walk completely unplugged and being like, oh my God, look at how the ocean is glittering. So it can be the little things, but
Yeah.
also the things in the year. Like I'm going to go plan a trip to go to Australia or Costa Rica this year and
Love it.
making the bigger rock joys in life too. And seeing friends, or like we talked about scheduling the massage. If we don't schedule our pleasure, we aren't going to do it.
Yeah, completely. I'm so curious about, I've been watching Emily in Paris over again for the second time. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I watch her doing, have you seen that show before?
I've seen a couple of episodes, but I'm not as fluent.
It's okay. It's just a guilty pleasure. But one pleasure, it's how I'm relaxing now. It's like I never usually watch TV. But one of the things that she gets herself into trouble with is the fact that she and all of them in Paris, they're constantly crossing over their personal life with their professional life because so much of what they do professionally and personally kind of just naturally intertwine. And you talked about so much of what you do with connecting people and learning about people and getting to know people. I'm curious, what are the pros? Because as being an entrepreneur since I was in high school, I find that there's a lot of pros and cons to having
Okay.
your world as an entrepreneur be so much about connecting with other humans and serving them and creating safe space for them and that kind of a thing. I find that can be really incredible being able to serve my friends and people that I know and friends of friends. But there's a con, which is sometimes it's tricky to give a breathwork session to a best friend because they're your best friend. So, what for you is that, Zoe? Do you find any pros and cons to having the work be so intertwined with personal life? Maybe some things that you're learning about that I could and our listeners could take a cue from.
The work I do might be a little bit different from what you do because you are truly holding that container for people's emotions and showing up so vulnerably personally too. That
Yeah,
is a bit different.
sure.
Whereas, like, the connections and the work that I do, there's definitely a coaching element to it in taking in what they're sharing, but I wouldn't say I'm holding their life story. We're all humans of how much do we take people's energy in. A lesson last year that I learned in a very challenging way was I do hold so much. And how
Mm-hmm.
can I make sure that I'm not detaching in a bad way, but even these tools my coach has helped me with as well is like imagine that you have two gold cords that are connected when you are with that person and you're fully present and you're holding space. and then you disconnect those after because they might have moved on and you're still ruminating on
Mm,
what they're holding.
sure.
And that's not mine to hold. Or
Yes.
I'm sure you have so many other kind of tactics like water, washing it all away, or things like that. In terms of personal and business, I'm a person where I kind of love that they're intertwined
Sure.
and not necessarily separate, because I think about at times if I was to have a job where I was working at a coffee shop per se and I was there 9 to 5 and I didn't think about it after. That's fine for a lot of people, and we need those people. They're incredible. They make the most delicious coffees and matchas out there. Personally, I think that I would be bored because my mind doesn't work like that. I love being stimulated and expanded by every person that I talk to. It's not always sunshine and roses being so expanded, but being challenged because we're all human. But things being intertwined is also one thing that I set for myself is I don't work on Saturdays. Will work on Sunday afternoon, but Saturday I do not work. This is the day to myself to have fun, and any calls or emails about work, they can be postponed.
I'm working
But
on that one too. Yes, as being an entrepreneur, that's the thing. That 24/7, you're just always thinking, how can I make my business better?
and that's where things like breath work come in. Or I don't have kids or a husband yet. In the morning, I don't have other people that I need to tend to yet. So how can I set the morning with intention and for the most part have a wind down? And one of the wind down things is I take a shower every single night because I feel like it's washing, no matter if I'm like clean or
Yeah,
not. It washes away what I might be carrying to just go to sleep and
that's such a good
chill
practice.
my brain out.
It's such a good practice. Yeah. When have you felt the power of community most personally, not just as this concept that we talk about, but as something that's really changing you or changing the people in your community? What
Mm.
does that feel like? How does it feel to create that? What's like a magical moment that you've had that's just reaffirmed and validated for you? Oh, yes, community is the thing.
I feel like virtual is incredible, but nothing beats in person. So every time we have an in person meetup that are quarterly or even our summit, the energy is so palpable, creating space where people truly drop in to their own vulnerability, meeting themselves where they are, to meet other people where they are, and to align with what is ahead for their business community in the felt sense. In those moments, it's also in the day to day. What makes my heart so happy is seeing our community being on each other's podcast, hosting events together, or doing a product collab, or inviting each other to each other's events to be supporting each other.
Tribe is the most primal thing that we can experience. You
Mm-hmm.
touched upon that sense of belonging. We think we want belonging. Well, yeah, we do. We want it. We need it. And also, we have to belong to ourselves first, obviously. But when you
Mm-hmm.
are, Zoe, when you are creating community out of a place of embodiment, because I hear you talk so much about these practices of embodiment and really walking and breath work and taking a shower and being with people, being present with them, listening in this deeper way, it's such an embodied way of creating tribe, creating community. That's really rewarding. And I think that's one of the biggest I have found with the work that I'm doing with creating women's circles is one of the biggest ways that we do heal the world is on that micro level, is gathering.
Mm-hmm.
But whether we gather like this, just one on one, and we commune and connect like this is community right here, right now with our listeners
Mm-hmm.
and you and me and us feeling seen by each other and our listeners feeling seen and resonating with what you're sharing. It's on such a micro level that having people, for me, what's so important, and I think it's important to you, Zoe, is having people, like you've said, feel seen, feel heard, feel known, be uplifted. The reason I do these women's panels that I do on the podcast is because I find it so important. It makes me feel so good. And I bet you have the same chemical reaction. It just makes me feel so good to create a platform and uplift other women in their entrepreneurship because it's so hard. It's hard to be an entrepreneur. I want us to all win together.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I want us to
yes.
all win together.
Yeah, we want to be seen and loved and heard. Well, I'm curious, what does community mean to you?
Yeah, well, community for me is what I just described. It's being able to, whether it's online or whether it's just two people or whether it's a group like a panel of 10 or 12 women, whether it's in person for an evening for 2 hours or whether it's a women's retreat on the coast of Oregon where we're getting together for 3 nights, it's being able to drop our masks and being able to authentically, like you talked about, drop in into our
Hmm.
body, setting down strategies, setting down anything that feels inorganic and just showing up as ourselves in safe space. I like to create portals. Here's the safe container, and then we get to all just drop whatever we're carrying. Whether it's heavy or it's not heavy, whatever that is, whether it's family or work or the roles or our relationships with past trauma that we've had ancestrally, past lives, because I do past life work
Hmm.
too, to be able to drop all of it and be able to come together in a way that I don't think there's anything that's much more potent than being seen and heard and known and felt, whether it's one on one
Hmm.
or whether it's in a group setting. Thank you for
That's
asking me that.
beautiful. And it just sounds like community is so core and integral to everything you do and who you are.
It is. It is. I was born in a yoga ashram, and that was literally a commune. My soul was clearly drawn to that kind of a tribe experience. And I think that's how we're meant to be. We're not meant to live so separately, like you said, in these little boxes. So, with We Shine Well, what are you most proud of creating so far? You probably touched upon this already, but here's another moment for us to talk about that. And what are you most excited about that's coming up? I know you mentioned some things that are coming up in person. What's lighting you up?
I'm so proud of each year, these summits that are coming together and these incredible women and these palpable moments. Also, that not being a moment in time, but that being the ignition and expansion for these collaborative relationships of women supporting women to come. And especially, I'm so excited about the We Shine Well podcast right now. It's so fun. I love having conversation. I can just talk to people all day and learn about them. And then I'll get off and be like, okay, let me connect you with all of these people.
I feel that.
Looking, yeah, we have exciting meetups in LA and New York to come and more intentionality through it all and opportunities to continue to amplify the gems of messages of each person through their offerings or brands in our community.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you for doing what you do. It's such important work to help not only entrepreneurs, but female entrepreneurs to connect and help each other and to rise up together. I don't think there's, I mean, personally, I just think that's the best. So
Yeah,
thank
well,
you for
I
doing this
agree.
work.
Well, thank you. You too.
Is there anything in particular that you want people to tap into?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram at We Shine Well. If you are a female entrepreneur, thought leader, practitioner, head to our website, WeShineWell.com, apply, would love to connect, or just shoot me a DM to better get to know you more. And we'll be invited to our summit to come. And a broader audience, tune into the We Shine Well podcast. We also have a Substack to dive deeper with questions and interact with guests each week as an opportunity there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the work that you do once again, Zoe. It's really important, it's really needed. And as we started, I'm seeing that your energy and your passion for connecting people and helping women is so authentic and true. And that's, I'm sure, what draws people to wanting to work with you and work with your company. So thank you for that. And guys, keep expanding your capacity to feel good, one breath at a time. Loving you, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Let's just let this all land. Here's what I loved about dialoguing with Zoe: how simple and true it is. Finding your people is not about trying harder. It's not about being louder. It's not about forcing yourself into rooms that don't feel good. It's about being present enough to actually feel what is aligned, getting honest about your priorities, and letting pleasure be part of the way you live and lead. Zoe reminded us that real community is reciprocal. It is potluck energy. We bring ourselves, we bring what we have, we let it be human, we let it be real. And from that place, visibility happens naturally. The kind where you feel seen because you are being yourself. So as you come back into your day, here is your gentle invitation. Choose one tiny act of presence. Put your hand on your heart for 10 seconds before you open your phone. Choose one priority that matters more than the noise. Schedule one moment of pleasure like it is sacred, because it is. And then, if you feel the nudge, reach out to one person. Send a message. Follow the thread. You do not have to do this alone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for expanding your capacity to feel good with me. If this episode touched something, share it with a friend you want to feel closer to. Loving you. And if today's conversation stirred something in you, here are a few ways we can go deeper together. So the Authentic Creative Podcast, where you are now, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss more conversations like this. And if you loved this one, share it with a friend who needs that. One-on-one work for private Reiki, breathwork, Akashic sessions where we can go right into your unique medicine. You can connect with me. Once again, thank you for being here, for listening, for expanding your capacity to feel good alongside me. I'm sending you love, and I can't wait to connect again soon. Loving you.